Hello everyone, welcome to Eminent Personality Webinars. Thank you all for joining today's session. As you know, this is managed by Technobiz. Welcome you all on behalf of Technobiz for this special event on the Eminent Personality Webinars. Just give you a quick intro to what is the purpose of this Eminent Personality Webinar. It's all about the journey, professional journey of the eminent persons, well respected and well experienced professionals. For basically this webinar is aimed for the younger generation to understand about well experienced and respect people, their journey, so that we get inspired as an younger generation. So that is the main purpose of this Eminent Personality Webinars. We have two types of webinar scope is there. One is a focus on the rubber industry, other is on scientist. And again in that two segments, we have in conversation and the legacy, the two types. The legacy is the person is no longer there here with us, but their memories, their learnings from them is still with us. So we talk about those. That is the legacy. What we are here for today is the legacy session. Okay, and so the legacy of eminent rubber industry professionals. Before we start, I just would like to convey sincere thanks to Dr. Manu Patel. He's also actually participating in this eminent rubber industry professional series, and also lots of rubber industry friends and well-wishers supporting this event. Sincere thanks to all of them, and also thanks to our Rubber Technologies Global Network, our magazine, Rubber and Tire Digest magazine. And special thanks to Indian Rubber Institute, particularly to Dr. Mukhopadhyay, supporting this today's event on the legacy of Mr. Manu Patel. He invited all the members to join and to join this session today. And special thanks to the Society for Industrial Chemistry. They're also been part of our program since the beginning, and we have done so many eminent webinars. So if this is societies for the scientists, chemical engineers. Okay, so if you're interested to be the member of it, you can check the details of the industrialchem.org. We have a co-host, Holdwell Components, who are supporting, join hands with the Technobiz to host these eminent personality webinars. They are basically the one-stop solution for all erasmus needs. And special thanks to Mr. Kamalesh Jain, to the owner of the MD of the Holdwell Components, for supporting this eminent webinar series. All our programs, eminent personality webinars, they're available on our Technobiz channel. You can see all the past webinars as well. So feel free to check the details of the Technobiz YouTube channel. So we are all here for about the Mr. Manu Patel. Well respected. I think every Indian rubber technologist know about this name, Mr. Manu Patel. We'll be talking about him, his journey, his experiences, his association with his friends. A lot to learn from this the eminent personality webinar about the legacy of Mr. Manu Patel. The agenda will be like this today. First, of course, a quick intro on the program, and then we will see the videos of the Technobiz as well, the Holdwell components. After that, we have the video presentation on Mr. Manu Patel. Then we will have remarks from the Mr. Manu Patel's family members, and we have colleagues of and associate of Mr. Manu Patel. Then we have this is the agenda. Probably it will be around 90+ minutes today's session. So let me show you quickly about the our co-host video, so that you have an understanding what kind of business they're doing. Okay, that's about the Holdwell components. If anybody interested in their services, you can reach out to them if any of their estimated needs. Okay. Let me show you about Technobiz. Some of you may be new to the Technobiz, so for the benefit of them, I'll make a quick video on our services, what we do for the rubber industry. Please stand by. Okay, that's about the Technobiz. I'm hoping that you have get some idea what kind of service we provide for for the rubber industries. So if you need any assistance, you can reach out to me. So we are all here for our session today, the legacy of Mr. Manu Patel, eminent rubber industry professional. We will hear about his journey, how he influenced the people. Okay, so we have family members and also we have colleagues and associates that work with him. So it's a great opportunity for all of us to learn about Mr. Manu Patel through this event today. Before I let our family members and colleagues to speak, I have prepared a short video on the Mr. Manu Patel. I'd like to show you all. Please have a look at this video. It's a video on Mr. Manu Patel. First of all, thanks to the Mr. Mehul Patel for sharing me all the pictures. Able to put a short presentation on Mr. Manu Patel. So we are having the first session of his remarks from the Mr. Manu Patel's family members. Before I invite them, I'd like to convey sincere thanks to all of you family members for giving us a permission to talk about your Mr. Manu Patel. I met him first time in Thailand. At that time, he told me that, Peram, you'll be in rubber industry for a long time. You count on me. That was at the time only I worked for 1 year in the rubber industry. That was a very long time ago, almost probably the 21 years ago. Okay, so I'm still in the rubber industry, and he blessed me. Thanks to Mr. Manu Patel, sir, I'm still in the rubber industry, and I didn't know that I have a chance to do this. It's honor to do this, host this event today for you. So I invite family members to speak your remarks on Mr. Manu Patel's. So let me invite Mr. Mehul Patel, the eldest son. Sir, please come forward.
Can I start speaking?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I am Mehul Patel, the eldest son of Manubhai Patel. Daddy, as we used to call him, for me was more than a father, not only taking care of my daily needs, but he was instrumental in bringing me to the rubber industry. I know he has left a last shoes for me, which is difficult or impossible to fill. Daddy managed to get me the admission in National College of Rubber Technology in London. He was so passionate about my getting into National College. This was at the age of when I was 17 years of age, and he made sure that he will carry me all along with him. He flew with me to London, make sure that I get the admission. Because in those times, only the BSc students who have passed the BSc with chemistry were allowed to enter the National College. But he could pursue or convince the principal of the college, Dr. Joe Glazer, and get me admitted there. So I must indeed, I'm indeed indebted for his efforts which he took to bring me into the rubber industry. Daddy had to struggle in his initial life. Many of you may not know, he was a calendar operator at Cosmos India or Cosmos Rubber. He used to night shifts and operate calendars and sleep on the metal table after the shift is over. His salary at that point of time was meager 12 rupees a month. Daddy had 4 brothers and 1 sister. He was given 11,000 rupees by his father to do whatever he wants to do. And he decided to go to National College of Rubber Technology in UK. That time he went through ship. There was no aircraft, or probably there were aircraft, but that was too expensive for him to take the aircraft. So he decided to go by ship, and it took him almost 3 months to reach UK. This was way back in 1954. One of the very important quality I have inherited from Daddy is honesty. I remember in early 1970, he used to tell me in early 1970, when he was the marketing manager at Synthesis Chemicals, there was an acute shortage of SBR. And one of these very senior director, purchase director of one of the tire company approached him to give him 2,000 metric tons for a very large sum. He refused, of course, not only refused the money or if I may use the word bribe, but he not only refused that money, but he also made sure that this particular tire company stopped getting a single kilo from that day onwards. So, that was the kind of commitment he had. Daddy has been my backbone throughout my life, practically till his last day. He used to guide me every time I get stuck, be it in personal life or in on rubber industry actually. For that matter, he has selflessly helped many people without expecting anything in return. He was instrumental in sending over a dozen of students to National College of Rubber Technology, and has been instrumental also in establishing three rubber colleges in India: the Anna University, Bandra Polytechnic, Government Polytechnic Bandra, and SRI City at. He was, not financially getting involved, but he was helping the formation of the course structure and so on and so forth. He must have, trained over 3,000 students, and we are very, very proud of, his achievement. He's also helped rubber industry as if it was his own. This is probably the reason why he was called the father of rubber industry in India. I would like to cite one common phenomena between him and me. He happened to establish SBR in India, while I had an opportunity of establishing EPDM rubber in India way back in late 1980s. Due to his hard work, his name was suggested by Sri K.M. Philip for UNESCO deputation to Sri Lanka. As you would know, in Sri Lanka, he established the Rubber Technology College in the Moratura University, and subsequently helped the rubber industry in Sri Lanka to grow on the rubber technology front. This changed our life. Mr. K.M. Phillips' suggestion and naming my daddy for the UNESCO deputation changed our life, and we are indeed indebted to Mr. Philip for the sake. Daddy used to always say that education is very important in life, and every family should make sure that their members are properly educated, and they move forward once they are educated properly. Friends, his personal life was very enjoyable and had no regrets. We all miss him in our life and sincerely hope that his noble soul rests in peace and continue to serve others. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehul sir. Thank you very much. Ma'am, you'd like to say a few words? Mataji,
No,
would-
not
yeah?
yet.
Okay, fine.
It's
Thank you.
comfortable otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I can put my video off, right?
Right, Mr. Mithul Patel, the younger son of Mr. Manu Patel, sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today. My name is Mithul, and I am the youngest son of Mr. Manu Patel. Most of the people on the call today know my dad from the rubber industry and know about the extensive contributions that he has made to the industry. Today, I wanted to share some memories of my dad with all of you so that you can understand the extensive contributions he has made within his family life. As my brother mentioned, we lovingly addressed our dad as Daddy. I am the youngest of my siblings. My brother and sister would say I am the most pampered out of all the three kids. Well, they would be right. Daddy and Mummy always catered to my needs and ensured I had the best of everything. Daddy's career allowed him to travel all around the world. From these international trips, Daddy would bring back things like clothes, toys, and chocolates for me, things that were not available in India at that time. As a young boy, going to pick him up from the airport and opening presents is a memory I will never forget. I know Daddy loved all his kids the same. Some of you on the call today who knew Daddy well may know that he had a sweet tooth. He loved sweets. This is how our whole family came to love sweets. Now this has become a part of our DNA, handing this love down to his grandchildren as well. When Daddy was working for the UN and living in Sri Lanka, I would go during my summer vacations to visit him. From the airport, Daddy would take me to the ice cream store to get gallons of ice cream before we went home. I was eating ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner until I went back to Mumbai. Daddy was a great cook. I guess his knowledge of chemistry helped him with his cooking. When Daddy came to visit us in the US, he would always cook for us. Daddy and my wife shared the love of cooking, so he had taught my wife his famous recipes, and we enjoy them frequently and think of him. Daddy was also very good at sports. He used to tell us stories about how he used to play polo when young. He taught me how to play cricket and table tennis. He would play with us in our society or when we went on vacation and could find a ping pong table. One time, when he came to visit us in the US, he brought a cricket bat and ball and badminton rackets with him from India and taught both of my sons how to play during his visit. I know that my sons enjoyed the time with their grandfather as Daddy did with them. Daddy loved to write poems. Over the years, he wrote special poems for each of my family members and gave them to us as part of our birthday present. His poems were so loving, well thought out, and so true about each of us. Such a special birthday gift to receive. Daddy also loved to draw and paint. He used to teach my two sons how to draw peacock and other Indian art. The time Daddy spent with my sons created great childhood memories for them. Daddy was a loving father, a great father-in-law, a grandfather, and a loving husband. Daddy always supported my mom wherever he was, and they had some great times together. Mummy still remembers her travels with Daddy and will frequently share those memories with us kids. Growing up in India, I always felt like I was a part of the rubber technology industry. Many of the fascinating breakfast and dinner conversations in our house between Daddy and Mehul Bhai were about rubber technology. Daddy traveled a lot and always had stories to tell us about his personal experience in the country he visited. Whether it was how people in Vietnam made tires by hand or how people collected milk from rubber trees in Sri Lanka, his love and pride for the rubber industry was evident. Daddy was always looking to find ways to help the industry. Daddy had always received love and respect from the people in the rubber industry. He was truly blessed. His true legacy in the industry is my older brother, who is now himself a very respected member of the industry and an image of my dad. His hard work and dedication to the industry will continue for many more years to come. I hope my dad's journey is an inspiration to the future generation of rubber technologists. He was honest and hardworking and always stood up to adversity. His advice to future generations would be to put in the hard work, get the best education you can, and give it your all so you can be the best version of yourself. Share your knowledge with others and give back to the industry. Daddy, I cannot say in words how much we miss you and for all the love that you have given us over the years. Thank you for allowing me to pay tribute to my dad.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mithul. Thank you for sharing your memories and experience. Let me invite Mrs. Manu Patel, daughter of the Mr. Manu Patel, sir. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to discuss the legacy of Mr. Manubhai M. Patel. My name is Manjay Patel. I am his only daughter. I am the middle child with an older and a younger brother. I would like to share with you all some of my personal memories about my dad and his strong role within our family. My dad really loved his work within the rubber industry. But more than anything else, my dad loved his family. All his children, and in time our spouses, called him by daddy. This made all of us feel close to him and him to us. People always say there is a special bond between a father and a daughter. For me, that bond was very true and strong. And I know that it was also true for Daddy as well. While I was growing up in India, Daddy used to travel for for work often. He traveled throughout the world visiting many countries. After Daddy returned from each of his trips, he would always take time out to teach us about the different countries and share with us his experience he had while he was there. As a child, it was always exciting when he returned, not only to hear about his experiences, but also to receive many treats he brought back us. Daddy always made sure to bring chocolate, cheese, and chewing gum. Us siblings used to say he brought us our three C's. Daddy used to bring latest dresses for me from all around the world. And this made me feel very special and lucky compared to my friends. Daddy really enjoyed seeing smiles on all of our faces. We got lucky when Daddy joined the United Nations in Sri Lanka. He was part of the UN for many, many years. And during those years, we were able to visit him on our summer vacations. That's where I got to experience automatic cars, grocery stores, which had self checkout counters, etc. Even now, I remember that people begging on the street in Sri Lanka used to beg in English. One of my treasured memories I have of a family trip that Daddy arranged to Japan. This was special to me because it was just a trip between my parents and just us grown-us siblings. We got a chance to attend his conference and travel around Japan. What a wonderful family time we shared. After my marriage, I moved to the US. It was a treat when Daddy would come to visit us at least once a year for sure. During his visits, as usual, he brought us treats. And this time it was from India. And now my kids also were able to experience that same joy that I did when I was a kid. Daddy spent a lot of time with his grandkids while he visited. He used to play table tennis with my son and daughter and very active running around with them. He also made sure he came to the US to attend both of my kids' milestone moments like high school and college graduations. Whenever I would visit India, he would plan all my favorite activities, food, and places to visit. Not only has his value passed down to our family, but his passion for drawing and writing poetry has been continued in our family. Daddy, how lucky I have had been like you to instill all the values and morals I have in me. You taught me to be confident, kind, and forgiving. You also taught me to stick up for myself and believe in myself. So thank you, Daddy, for teaching me how to be who I am today. The best part of you being my dad was you were so much more than that. You were one of the best storytellers, best chef, great shopper, and honest man with a strong personality and a soft heart. You were also known for your contagious laughter, smile, funny travel stories, and experiences. However, the thing I the thing I think about the most is how grateful I am to have had you as not only my father, but more importantly, as my friend. I love you, Daddy, and think about you every day. You are missed dearly by countless colleagues, friends and family, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'll miss you, Dad. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Okay, let me invite Mr. Suresh Patel, the younger brother of Mr. Manu Patel, sir. Please, sir.
Good evening and friends, and good morning for those who are in USA. Thank you for inviting me to honor my brother Manu Bhai and appreciate his contribution to the rubber industry. Back in 60s in India, medium and small size rubber industries have no technical knowledge to manufacture a good quality product. At that time, Manu Bhai began helping many such industries. For me, however, personally, as my older brother, he had a tremendous impact in my life. But there are three main things which I cannot forget even today. The first one was when I was 13 years old, he introduced me to the world of cricket. And being a big hearted person that he was, he bought me a bat. That time it was the best brand of cricket bat. And I think it was autograph or something like that. I'm not very sure. And I ended up playing this cricket till the last day of my college. And I was one of the good batsmen for my team, college team. The second one was I graduated from college. He helped me to go to the National College of Rubber Technology in London, where he graduated from as well. That education helped me a lot when I started my work in USA. And the last but not the least, after I returned from London, he helped me and family to start a small rubber industry in the state of Gujarat. We started manufacturing microcellular sheets for the footwear. And I can definitely say that rubber technologies degree from the National College and the experience I gained from running that small rubber industry contributed to the success in my career in the USA. And I retired as a vice president of R&D for Warco Biltrite Corporation. I still continue to consult rubber industries in the USA and China and continue the legacy of my brother. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to honor my brother. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Let me invite Ms. Monisha Mehul Patel, the granddaughter of Mr. Manu Patel, sir.
Hi. Thank you all for taking up time and being present today. You all surely know more about Dadaji's professional journey and his contribution to the rubber industry than me. And so today I would like you all to know a little more about him as my Dadaji. He was a man who constantly reminded me to work hard without worrying about the results. A man who celebrated my success and was affected over my failures. I remember he had refused to eat lunch when I did not clear the first attempt of my CA exam. A man who took decisions that were ethical and knew the difference between black and white. For him, there was no gray. A man who loved his grandchildren. So I would ask him several times who was his favorite grandchild. And he would smile and without giving a direct answer, say, Soham Sauthi Dayoche. A man who relished sweets. He would not want to eat lunch or dinner at times, but would always say a yes to all types of laddus. A man who drew a peacock in all his diaries. A man who built his life from scratch and ensured we got the best of everything, from education to affordable luxuries. A man who told the most amazing stories, never without a teaching. a man who led by example, a man who left the biggest void in our lives, a man who will forever be loved, missed, admired, and respected, a man whom I not only look up to, but aspire to be like, a man I proudly call my Dadaji. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you very much. Nice words. Thank you very much. Now I invite the colleagues of Mr. Manu Patel. Let me invite Dr. R. Mukhopadhyaya, please, sir. Unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself, please.
Good evening to all of you. It is a great pleasure and privilege for me to say a few words about our beloved Sri Manu Patel, called as the Manu Bhai, an eminent rubber technologist, mentor, and educationist. I am very much thankful to Mr. Peram of TechnoBridge and the Dr. Shamar Bandhavadhyay, Secretary of IRI, to arrange this webinar to give the respect to our past Sri Manu Bhai. You know, the first time actually I was doing my study in IIT Kharagpur in MSc, and I would like to be a member of PRI Indian section of rubber. I visited the Calcutta office of synthetic and chemicals in 1973. P.K. Bhattacharya, who was the looking after the eastern region of synthetic and chemical cells, and he was the secretary of PRI Indian section of rubber. And myself and Mr. M.G. Kumaran, who was the ex-deputy director of the rubber board, we are waiting to take the membership of PRI. So then P.K. Bhattacharya told me, today we'll introduce one gentleman and who is really the one of the member to establish the PRI Indian section rubber, along with Dr. D. Banerjee and D. Bose and Mr. Lachia as well. So within half an hour, Manu Bhai came and to Calcutta office. This is the first time we met in 1973. And close to more than 45 years, I know him. And while several discussions, several forums, he was also always one dream, what is to say, since he, on those days, pre-independence and the post-independence till 60, there was no formal rubber technology education college, except IIT Kharagpur, who was given those, the degree in the PhD and the diploma from IIT. But Indian rubber industry needs the technologists, especially supervisory level, especially for product development, the production, etc. After getting education in National College of Rubber Technology, he has a dream to do something in India. His dream was also how to educate the young Indian entrepreneurs and the students and create an interest to come to the rubber field. For that, all of you are aware, when he was the synthetic and chemicals in the Kelachar group established in Bareilly for the SBR, he was associated on those time. And he established one of the best laboratory, technical service laboratory in world in Bombay. While I was in Bayer after IIT, I used to go there, and especially for conducting such a lecture, LIRI. So we had a certain interaction with him. And he also used to visit the Biotech TS laboratory. Then he left for assignment in abroad. But the PRI UK actually in 1987, 86, I think, so they merged with the Indian Institute of Materials. At that time, Dr. D. Banerjee, Mr. Manu Bhai, and other member, Dr. D. Bose, and along with Dr. Mathans, they decided to come the Indian Rubber Institutes to establish in 1987. And from that time, I was continuously working with him. And I had an opportunity. He was not only as a great educationist, but he was also engaged how to uplift the quality of the Indian rubber product, especially for export and helping the MSME sectors. And he also pioneered, along with Mr. R.R. Pandit, to get a formulary book in Sinoprene. All the rubber technology formulations are documented was there, so, which is published by the Synthetic and Chemical. Still, I kept that book. It was a very interesting book, for especially those who for the entrepreneurship to develop new materials and compound. And he was actively engaged with Bureau of Indian Standard, and he was the chairman of the PCDC 13-14 certain sectional committee. And under the chairman, so I was also the member. We had an opportunity to visited several ISO TC 45 meetings. First time we traveled to Cape Town in South Africa. On those days after the apartheid, the Indian passports was written that you can visit any country other than South Africa. This is the first time the Indians were allowed. I remembering in 1994, it was the Cape Town ISO TC 45 meeting. After that, I have, along with him, and I think so, Mrs. Patel was also always accompanying. I visited several places, Cape Town, beside the Cape Town, Budapest, the Phuket in Thailand, and in Japan, different conferences. I found that how he really participated in the different technical seminar. He tried to always talk with the different countries, especially the SAARC countries, SAARC members, or also the Malaysia, English, how to establish a forum for the rubber industry in this part of the world. And he had also a dream to establish a national college. Several times while talking, he told Dr. So how we can establish a college like National College of Rubber Technology, London. Dr. D. Banerjee also want, I hope, when we decided from the IRI to establish the Center of Excellence at Mysore, he was very happy, but he didn't visit where I requested at that time, 2017 he started the work. I hope he was very happy to know that IRI is doing something. And with this few words, I can tell you the way he spread his whole life to share the knowledge to the young generation entrepreneurship, and he will be remembered for a long time for Indian rubber industry. And with this respect, with these few words, and we pray to God that his, with full condolence to the whole family, and his heart is rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Next, I may invite Mr. Rajendra Gandhi, sir. Please.
Jai Shri Ben, Suresh Bhai, Mehul Bhai, Mitul Bhai, Manjal Ben, distinguished speakers, colleagues from the rubber industry in India and the neighboring countries. Friends, this event is to celebrate the legacy of Sri Manu Patel, a foremost rubber technologist who has immensely contributed to the growth of the Indian rubber industry. I came in contact with Sri Manu in late 70s when I had just started my new company, Gujarat Reclaim and Rubber Products Limited, now known as GRP Limited. I had then purchased some equipment from his brother, Suresh Bhai Patel. The chairman of my company then was Sri K.M. Philip, who was considered the father of the Indian rubber industry. Mr. W.G. Desai was then the managing director of my company. Mr. W.G. Desai was also an eminent rubber technologist senior to Manu Bhai. During that period, it was Mr. K.M. Philip who confided in me that upon the request from the government of India, he had recommended the name of Sri Manu Bhai over Sri W.G. Desai for an important deputation post in Sri Lanka. Thus, from 1976 to 1986, Sri Manu Bhai was on deputation of UNESCO and established in Sri Lanka a rubber college near Colombo. This showed how much respect Sri Manubai had earned as a rubber technologist as well as an educationist. I had the privilege of working with Sri Manubai in various forums and associations of the rubber industry, notably in AIRIA, that is All India Rubber Industries Association, and in Indian Rubber Manufacturers Research Association. Not only the entire rubber industry, but people in government, in academic circles, had enormous respect for the deep knowledge Sri Manubai had in rubber technology. During my interactions with Sri Manubai, both formally and informally, I could understand some of his unique characteristics that have remained etched in my memory. These include he could convey his frank opinion on a subject without fear or favor, but in a language which is not offensive. He could carry people with him. In all his conversations, the interest of the rubber industry was always uppermost in his heart. He had a sense of humor. He was humble in sharing his knowledge with everybody without any hidden motives. And finally, as a professional, he came out as a person of high integrity and ethics. I think many of his family members just now shared how proud they are about their values, which are so important in today's world, which is so self-driven and so self-centered. I'm sure there are many rubber technologies present today who owe to Manubai part of their technical knowledge. I was one of those who was responsible for instituting the K.M. Philip Gold Medal to an individual who has contributed to the growth of the Indian rubber industry. I must say that in Sri Manubai, we all found the most deserving first recipient of this prestigious K.M. Philip Gold Medal award. The citation reads, I quote, "The first M. Philip Award was given to Sri Manu M. Patel, Chief Executive, APAR Limited, Mumbai, in recognition of the outstanding contribution made by him to the growth and development of rubber industry, rendering services through developmental work, introduction of usage of synthetic rubber, technical services and training, education in rubber technology, standardization, helping proliferation of small sector as also to the industries overseas under UN assignments for furthering the interest of the rubber industry." Unquote. It is a matter of great pride for all of us that while Sri Manubai earned his respect and recognition for his services to the growth of the rubber industry, Sri Ramanbai, elder brother of Sri Manubai, whom I also had a privilege to know, earned his name and fame for his services in the plastic industry. Sri Suresh Bhai, whom I owe my entry into the rubber industry, has settled in USA for a long time now. It was so good to see him today. We all know that the Indian rubber industry has been proud to have a galaxy of rubber technologists who have made it their mission to serve selflessly the cause of rubber industry. Manubai has been one of this elite group. I am happy to see the several next generation rubber technologies in this august audience, including Mehul, who has taken over this baton. I wish and hope that this tribe keeps growing. Indian rubber industry will remain grateful for their selfless service. I want to thank Mr. Rao for organizing this event, and I'm thankful to the members of the Manubhai's family for giving me this opportunity to share my views. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. May I invite Dr. R.K. Martin, please, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I would at the outset like to thank Manubhai's family and Technobus and Param Rao for giving me the opportunity to speak a few words at this very special meeting to commemorate the life, work, and contributions of Manubhai. I came to know of Manubhai about 8 years before I actually met him. In the year 1961, that is about 60 years ago, I joined the National College of Rubber Technology. Manubhai had already graduated several years before that, but my batchmate was none other than Suresh Bhai, who was the younger brother of Manubhai, and we completed our rubber technology degree together. He had been inspired to do his rubber technology by Manubhai. It was in 1970 when I got back to India that Mr. K.M. Philip first introduced me to Manubhai in Bombay, but he was already not a stranger to me. Right from the beginning, we developed a friendly and easy relationship from which I greatly benefited, and I considered him my peer and mentor. His driving passion to provide high-quality technical service and support to industry made the Technical Services Laboratory of Synthetics and Chemical a training ground for a generation of technologists who drove the upward growth of the Indian rubber industry in the 70s and 80s. The successful introduction of SPR into the Indian rubber industry is in no small measure due to the persistent developmental efforts that Manubhai and his team undertook. There were many incremental innovations he did in the areas of formulation, processing, and testing, which he pioneered. The formularies introduced taught the younger technologists to work with both natural and synthetic rubber. We collaborated in several areas over the years, which included the development of the rubber science and technology courses at Cochin University and MIT and Anna University. And also we collaborated in the transformation of the IRI syllabus as we transitioned from the UK PRI to the Indian IRI. We have also presented joint studies on the future needs of technical human resources for the Indian rubber industry based on the projected growth to a 1 million-ton rubber economy. We also presented a joint paper on thermoplastic, natural, and synthec elastomers. The Indian rubber industry post-independence was a small entity with a mere 100,000 tons of rubber usage. The twin engines of its growth over the next 30 years was driven by the demand for rubber in the country and also by the entrepreneurs and businessmen who took the risk and the investment to create the growing rubber industry. These included people like Mr. Singhania, Mr. Jesudasan, the Mukherjees of Inchek, Mr. Raunak Singh, and Mr. Maman Maple, and in the non-tire sector, D. Bose, Lalit Mohan Javnadas, Mr. Lathia, and others. And they had the backing of technologists such as Dr. D. Banerjee, Mr. Jabdiji Desai, Mr. Pandit, Mr. Sankyani, and of course, Mr. Manubhai Patel. And it is these people who helped to overcome the issues of the license Raj with its difficulties of technology acquisition, raw material and machinery limitations of variety and availability. Manubhai's role as an institution builder in education is seen from his work at the Bandra Polytechnic, Cochin University, MIT, Institute of Technology of the University of Maratova, Sri Lanka, and of course the IRI. He received the highest honors and recognition by being the first recipient of the K.M. Philip Award, richly deserved. He was also the recipient of the Hancock Medal of the Institute of Materials, Minerals and Mining, UK. I am glad I could play a small role in this because Manubhai had let his institution membership lapse, which made his eligibility doubtful. but Mr. Kian Philip and I and Mr. Lathia were able to propose his name for reinduction, and simultaneously he was accepted for the application and for the consideration of the Hancock Medal Award, which he received. His national and international role in standardization was recognized with the ISO Long Service Excellence Award in 2010, when the ISO TC45 meeting was held in Cochin in India in 2009. And his role in the rubber industry in testing and standardization is well recognized. Manubai was always keen on establishing an NCRT, National College of Rubber Technology type college, where there was equal emphasis on practical training and theory to give a more rounded and industry-ready rubber technologies. It would be a fitting memorial if this could come to fruition in one of the many institutions he fostered of not only rubber science and technology, but also the growth of the rubber industry. I thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to remember Manubai as his legacy as a person of unimpeachable integrity and intellectual honesty. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I invite Mr. P.P. Pereira, please?
Good evening, everybody. Mr. Manubai Patel's family members and all the distinguished personnel in the Indian rubber industry. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Samar Manu Patel for inviting me for this event, and also Mr. Peram for organizing this event and giving me an opportunity to address at this very important gathering. Now, from the Sri Lankan point of view, I would like to relate some of my experiences and the industry experience in Sri Lanka during the late 70s and 80s. You see, in 1976, I was, I don't call amateur, but a fairly, relatively young person in the rubber industry in Sri Lanka with only 8 years experience in the industry. And, at that time, I can remember Mr. Manubai Patel coming to Sri Lanka on a UNESCO assignment to develop, establish a rubber division in the University of Moratuwa, which finally ended up with the establishment of the National Diploma in Rubber Technology in Sri Lanka. You see, prior to that, the University of Moratuwa conducted several other national diplomas, especially in the engineering fields like the electrical, mechanical and civil engineering and chemical engineering. So this was the first time that a diploma, national diploma level course in rubber technology was established in Sri Lanka, thanks to Mr. Manubai Patel's involvement for a couple of years. And I'm very happy to mention at this point the Plastics and Rubber Institute of Sri Lanka, of which I am the current vice president, was closely involved with Manubai Patel and his activities in designing this program, designing the curricula, etc. for this very valuable course, which has proved to be actually proved to be a very useful source for generating the much needed polymer technologies at the operational level in Sri Lanka. Now, if I can consider my 53 plus years of experience in the rubber industry, I see two shining stars in the sky of rubber industry in India, I would say in the world. One is the late Mr. R.R. Pandit of Bayer, India, and the second is Mr. Manu Patel, who has worked selflessly for the development of the rubber industry. This is one feature I admire in both of them. Especially Mr. Manubhai Patel, we had close connection with him in Sri Lanka for about 7 or 8 years, and he was a regular lecturer or presenter at the various educational and technical information programs we organized on behalf of the PRI. And also, he also got involved with Bensri Industries in Sri Lanka, which is one of the pioneer latex dip product industries in our country. So this is something that was done with USA assistance, I think in the mid 80s. I can remember, he was a regular visitor for our social events, our annual awards nights, etc., where we found his association very interesting. Then my last association with him in Sri Lanka was when we organized a visit to a remote resort in the south of Sri Lanka in 1981, where he participated and we had a really enjoyable time the whole day. And after that, I took up assignment in Nairobi, Kenya, and I lost touch with him for a couple of years. But we kept in touch on and off. That was a time when there was no emails and all this modern paraphernalia, only, telephones and letters, and occasionally the
We lost his voice. Please stand by.
and then how about this evening? So then in the evening, he sent his son Mehul to pick us up and take us to his residence in Mumbai. And we had a really enjoyable time till late night. I think Mehul can remember this occasion. Then after that event, we kept in touch on and off. Then I had the opportunity to visit India a couple of times to participate in India Rubber Expo and other events organized by the Rubber Asia and the Tri-Asia, of which I am the Sri Lanka representative. I had the good opportunity of meeting Mr. Patel a few occasions, and then he helped me a lot in providing information and without any hesitation. So I don't want to, drag or extend my time, but I would like to say for the modern generations, the up and coming generation, which is part of the objectives of this program, that we should emulate people like Mr. Manubhai Patel, who work selflessly and devotedly without looking at the profits and the financial side and ethically. You see, a quote from the Bhagavad Gita comes to my mind at this stage when Krishna told Arjuna, you should perform your task without expecting the results. And I would like to conclude my short felicitation with a verse from H.W. Longfellow, where he said, "Lives of great men all remind us, and we can make our life sublime, and leave apart when we depart footprints in the sands of time." So I wish Mr. Manubhai Patel that his sojourn in this samsara be short, and according to our Buddhist tradition, may he attain his nirvana or the moksha in the shortest possible time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. May I invite Mr. K.D. Shah, sir, please?
Good evening, friends. Thank you, Mr. Peram, for inviting me to this webinar. It is my privilege to speak about my relations with Patel Sahib. I always addressed him as Patel Sahib, as he was my guru. He taught me rubber technology and its intricacies. He and my late father were ex-cosmos. The rubber industry during those years was very small, and they were in constant touch with each other. After my graduation, I joined the factory set up by my father. My brother had already joined the factory after clearing his LPRI under Patel Sahib's guidance. He took me to Patel Sahib at Synthetics and Chemicals Lab for training in rubber technology. This was my first meeting with Patel Sahib, who spared nearly 1 hour at the training and advised me to go to SNC daily and study in the lab. He took keen interest in me and was always available to me to solve queries and practical applications on the shop floor. His personal interest in me helped in master LPRI. Even after clearing LPRI, I used to meet him regularly at seminars and get-together organized by IRI and AIRI. I was elected to the managing committee of the Rubber Industry Association in mid-70s. Synthetics and Chemicals, Mr. Nanavati, who was also a member of the managing committee. On his retirement, Patel Sahib was nominated in his place as SNC representative and was subsequently elected to the managing committee for a number of years, I think up to 1976. Thereafter, our interaction was more frequent and personal, attending the managing committee meetings and other activities of the association held all over the country. One such meeting was held at New Delhi. After the meeting, the committee members were taken to SNC plant at Bareilly. We were there for 2 days, and he personally took attention and took care of all our members, including me. I remember SNC people took us to the Nainital for 1 day stay, and then we came back. The interaction brought us even closer, and he used to invite me and other senior members for dinner at his residence, giving me opportunity to meet Jayashree. Later, once or twice, they invited me and my wife Lina to his house for dinner, giving us opportunity to meet his family more intimately. Another important incident that I recollect is in mid-1986. Dr. D. Banerjee had convened a meeting of eminent personality of VRI at Hotel Seal or Bandra to finalize the constitution of IRI. Patel Sahib was representing members of West. As I was an office fellow of association, he asked me to attend the meeting and put in my own views. This was a marathon meeting lasting almost 5 to 6 hours. Friends, these are a few of the more incidents with my guru. Finally, I recall a doha which I had learned during my school days. It says, Guru Gav Govind dono khade, kake lagu paye. Balihari Guru aapki, Govind dikho. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir. May I invite Mr. KJ Janakar, sir, please.
Good evening to all of you. I thank you, Dr. Samar and Prem, for inviting me to give the speech today, short speech. My association with Manubai, I call him Manubai because it was my pet name for him, way back in 1963 till the end of his life. That means 58 years, almost 6 decades I know him. When I passed out of UDCT, now it's called Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, I was selected by him in the Technical Service Laboratory, Worli, of Synthetic Chemicals Limited, Mumbai. After training for 6 months, I was positioned at Chennai as Technical Service Officer for the Southern region. Manubai's devotion for duty was indeed commendable. For 5 years, the work what we did along with Manubai and R.R. Pandit is something we have to see. He was extremely systematic, and then those 5 years we used to tour extensively rubber factories in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. The task of introducing SB or synthetic rubber during those years in Kerala, where natural rubber was grown and available in plenty, was very tough. The industry was using only natural rubber, excepting, of course, for Hawaii chapels, high styrene resins like Butacon, Durant, etc. Under such difficult situation, Manubai used to work hard. I remember one customer at Kottayam, Kerala, making rubber mats. I think his name was Mr. Varghese. He was not in a mood to try SBR. And just to give a sort of excuse, he says, oh, I get power only in the night time because of power cut in Kerala. It will come 11 o'clock in the night time and goes off at 5 o'clock. And that day Manubai told him, okay, we are prepared to come. I am prepared to come to your factory at 12 midnight to carry out trials to prove SBR. But he never expected this sort of answer. And then afterwards, because of this sort of thing and his expertise, Varghese became one of our biggest customers. That was a type of devotion to duty. Again, it is Manubai, I would say, the inventor of the Indian grade of high strain rubber called Sinoprene HSM, which is a blend of SBR 1502 and polystyrene with an antioxidant. He organized the manufacturing of this HSM grade at different locations in India, including Omega Cables at Chennai those years. Now, because of its good approval and acceptance, those years government put a ban on high styrene rubber, because those times the foreign exchange was a big problem for our country. Even if you want to travel abroad, you have to apply for the Reserve Bank of India, give an account where you are going, limited foreign exchange was given. When you come back also, you were asked to submit a report to Reserve Bank. That was the situation, and the usage of Sinoprene HSM by the rubber industry replacing the imported high strain resins gave a lot of foreign exchange relief for the government, which was well appreciated by the Ministry of Commerce. Those time it was called DGTD. After I left synthetics and chemicals, I joined Bayer, now it's called Landsex, of course, and I continued the activities of IRI along with him. The Chennai branch was formed with Dr. Matan, Manu Patel, Dr. Banerjee, etc. And he was instrumental in giving education to rubber technology and resulted in the formation of beta course at MIT Anna University. He was quite active in all IRI activities. He also was nominated as a chairman of IRI once. He continued the services to the rubber industry, not only in the platform of IRI, but also ARIA during his professional career with Apollo Industries, manufacturing high-styrene rubber, and later with the nitrile rubber. Even when he was 80 years old, I still recall himself coming over to Chennai to attend the International Rubber Conference, RubberCon 2015. His devotion to rubber industry was so good, I think he shaped up his son, Mehul Patel, who is now doing human services through IRI and ARA. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We have Mr. S.D. Patel. Mr. S.D. Patel has sent us a video message. Let me run for you all.
Dear members, I would like to thank you, the committee members of the Rubber Association, for speaking a few words on Mr. Manu Patel, doyen of the Indian rubber industry, who has left us recently. My association with Mr. Manu Patel was during my training at the institution of synthetics and chemicals, based on imparting training for licensed training of the PRI Institute in 1973-1975, and where there was a preparing for LPR exam training, which was being conducted at the synthetics and chemicals police laboratories. Since I was a student of outstation, I used to little early at the library at the synthetics and chemicals, and an interaction with the people of working in the lab. Mr. Manu Patel was one of the guiding light to give me guidance and enthusiasm to complete my studies. And the later part of my life, when I was working with Cosmos India Rubber Works Nasik plant, as he was addressed attached to our company frequently, as he was earlier working with Cosmos India Bombay plant, as with Mr. Lalit Jamnadas, who was the chairman of our company. He used to guide us on technical details regarding the products and needs to be addressed. As he had in the past worked on Cosmos India Rubber Works, we welcomed his suggestions and applied this to our working conditions, following us by our conditions. During Manu Bhai's tenure with APAR, manufacturers of nitrile rubber, he personally used to visit my small unit at Nasik and was very happy to note that I started my own business, and encouraged me to give my best effort for success. He offered me good advice on the use of nitrile rubbers of Aparin, which I appreciate even today. During the early 90s, Manu Bhai visited. Our vision was to start a course in the rubber technology in areas like Pune, Nasik, Thane, encourage entrepreneurship, and provide skilled technocrats for the rubber industry. His visit to Nasik 2 or 3 times, I visited Nasik and some prospective colleges were visited by us. This showed even at the age he was interested in furthering the need of the rubber industry enhancing the training requirement for the skilled labor trade. During the tenure with IIRA, a lot of training sessions were conducted in Pune, Nasik, and Bombay with the help of leading rubber technocrats, which were very interesting to learn and rewarding. For, for new entrants also to the rubber industry, students starting up startups would say Manubai was already a leading person of the rubber industry, which is sound with a sound knowledge and experience, which has helped a lot of industries, people including building up their own businesses, careers as a student or as an entrepreneur. And his vision for spreading knowledge, especially for the rubber industry, was worth noting today. Manubai is no more with us, but his spirit will definitely guide us through this present time.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. S.D. Patel, for sending us a video message. Now I invite Mr. Yogan Lathia, sir, please. Okay, it looks like we have connection issues. Let's move on. So we have Mr. Anand Kaldera from Sri Lanka. He has sent a video message. Let me run for you.
First, let me thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to say a few words in today's event on behalf of late Mr. Manu Patel, an eminent rubber industry professional. We are very happy to participate as a Sri Lankan in this forum today. As we know, Mr. Manu Patel visited Sri Lanka in 1976. He undertook a certain project at the Moratuwa University to establish a rubber division, and that helped the Sri Lanka to improve or rather commence polymer technology education in Sri Lanka and help the rubber industry in a big way. Because that's the time that we started communicating and contacting Mr. Manu Patel during his period that he stayed in Sri Lanka. During that time, he not only did the development of the rubber department in the Moratuwa University, but he got involved with the industry, established relationship with everybody, and even worked as a director of Bensri Rubber, which is a branch of Bengal waterproofing company in Colombo. That is how he got involved in the rubber industry also in Sri Lanka. And when he was working as a director at APA International, he developed this synthetic rubber knowledge in the rubber industry, visited several times to Sri Lanka, and then conducted number of seminars and lectures to our industry personnel to increase their knowledge and improve their knowledge. And he was a very friendly person and never refused to give any advice, and practically always very calm and peaceful person. He helped not only me to entire rubber industry in Sri Lanka, so we are very grateful to him for whatever the services he had done for last 6 decades. So he was a very close companion to us, and many times he was a good advisor to us, industry leader who participated in number of events. I wish that we can continue his practices in the industry in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, may I invite Mr. Ketan Shah, please.
Good evening. My sincere thanks to Mr. Peram of Technobiz and Manu Kaka's family, as I would generally call Patel Sahib Manu Kaka. It is a privilege to share some of my moments and thoughts about him. I cannot dream of talking about his professional achievements or accomplishments, as it is like holding a candle in front of a sun. My first interaction with him came in early 90s when I had just joined IRI, managing a Mumbai branch committee, and he was present. As a youngster who had joined the rubber industry, I had heard of Manu Kaka from my uncles and other seniors with whom I had interacted. During the meeting, he came across as a very simple person, passionate about education. He was always smiling and polite to the core. He would call me also Ketan Bhai. Well, he was within his rights to call me Ketan. He was one of the founding members of Indian Rubber Institute. His contribution to the rubber industry was recognized even by the United Nations, and he was deputed to Sri Lanka to improve the rubber education in Sri Lanka. I was among those IRI students who were privileged to be taught by Manu Kaka. As a matter of fact, he was a teacher not only to me, but also to my elder uncle, my other uncle, and my younger brother. That means he was teaching rubber technology right from 1950s till late 1990s. He would always come with meticulous notes and was a very patient teacher. He was always ready to help the industry. I remember an incident where many years ago, I was discussing some product with Mehul Bhai, and he happened to overhear. Within a few days, he sent me a complete write-up about the product and the production technology, technique, everything. That is how he was. He loved his sweets, he loved his ice creams, and would always say that that was his main course, and the other food was the sides. He loved making sketches, and as others said, he was fond of drawing also. Whenever we would meet, he would share his experience and goad us to learn and adapt the new developments happening in the rubber industry. That was Manu Kaka. He was instrumental in setting up the first SBR plant in India at Raebareli, based on molasses. The Indian rubber industry had not used SBR, and Manu Kaka set up a world-class training center and made sure that the Indian rubber industry was able to use the SBR. He was very passionate about the industry, and he would tell me that if the industry does not pay well to the young rubber technicians, they might get attracted to other fields, and the rubber industry would be a loser. He was equally passionate about Indian rubber industry, where he was the chairman of the institute during 1999-2000. He was also instrumental in establishing a diploma course in rubber technology at the Government Polytechnic at Bandra and a degree course in engineering at SRI City, Ankleshwar. He was the first recipient of the K.M. Philip Award, prestigious K.M. Philip Award, and also the recipient of the Hancock Medal, amongst other achievements. I can only say that I have lost my guru. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I invite Mr. Jürgen Lathia, please.
Hi, sorry, I'm having some problem on the video. You'll not be able to see me, but you can hear me. As everyone has said before me, Manu Bhai is the father of this, at least synthetic rubber industry. He started up manufacturing SBR and nitrile in India for the first time. Of course, he was the foremost one of the foremost rubber technologists in India, but he was also a great educationist, having a passion for educating and training people. My relationship goes back almost 50 years, because he and my father were both incidentally in Wilson College. My father and then both of them moved on to National College of Rubber Technology, and ever since then they have known one another, helped one another, and it has been a long relationship. Jaisri Ben, Mehul, particularly Mithul, and Others I have not met. Suresh Bhai, of course, I have met in my career. My mother also remembers Manu Bhai and Jayashree Ben very, very well. So it has been a long family relationship with Manu Bhai and Mehul. Now, for me personally, he was a mentor because when I was to go to study rubber technology, my father sent me straight to synthetic and chemicals laboratory at Prabhadevi. As everyone has said, it was one of the foremost laboratory in India at that time, and employing not only foremost, his team was of Rege Saab, Bankar Saab, and the instruments were phenomenal. So I got my basic training in rubber technology at synthetic and chemicals. Of course, then he guided me, molded me, and brought me into Indian Rubber Institute, in Rubber Association, and all the other institutions. Of course, Manu Bhai had a pension, liking for standards, and he was representing India on ISO for a number of years, for which he has been felicitated. Manu Bhai was a very simple person, ever smiling and ever helpful to anyone who approached him. And of course, he was approachable to any number of technicians who would want to meet him. He has been honored by IRI, ARI, ISO, Indian Institute of Materials, by various awards which colleagues before me have said. And it has been an honor and a blessing that he was there to bless me and my career. I'm always grateful to him and thankful to Mehul and for giving me this opportunity to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Mr. Neeraj Thakur. Mr. Neeraj Thakur is unable to connect, but he has sent a message. I do invite Mr. Ketan Shah to read his message, please.
It is not often that such individuals are born. It is not often that we get to associate with them, and it is not often we get to be grateful that they leave behind a small piece of their legacy in us. And I'm indeed lucky to have been there, and thank you, Manu Bhai, for showing me your mirror. I would like to reflect on why I believe what he has left behind is truly a legacy, and this is my reflection of what I have learned from him. Some of the things which I consider a legacy: be in it for the long run. Startups are good, but it is not all about the money. It is about what you create, and what, more importantly, pay your respects to what creates you. As an example, Manu Bhai gave back to the industry much more than what he received from the industry, and that's a part of creating a legacy. I don't know how many know this, but he was an avid collector of fine spirits. It is unfortunate that I could not possess his collection, but what I learned from that is he enjoyed not just working hard, but had other interests besides his profession. Some things I admired a lot about him: a well-rounded personality, a trait that must be carried on for a legacy. For him, age was just a number, and you realize that when you met him. He would address each person with the same warmth, and he was very friendly when talking to people. With a 25-year-old, he would accost as a friend with no hint of seniority, and with his colleagues, he was their friend as there with no attitude of his achievements. Again, a trait that the youth needs to appreciate and inculcate. He did what he did with a passion and an ever-smiling face. He was completely involved in his work and always had his eyes on the future and helped him steer his way through. The combination of above is easier said than done. That's a guide to building a legacy. Friends, he not being amongst us is not only a huge loss to the rubber industry, but also personally. I can only say one thing, that I hope he has ignited enough souls to be more Manu Bhais of the future, who not only create a name for themselves, but also make a difference to the world. My gratitude to Manu Bhai for making a difference in my world and wishing you the best, very best to continue the legacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ketan Shah, for reading out the message of Mr. Neeraj Thakkar. Thank you all the panelists for sharing your remarks. May I invite all of you to open your cameras, including the family members, please.
You could be there.
Mr. Janakar. Okay. I do request the family members to give a thank you remarks to the audience as well as the panelists. May I invite first Monisha.
Thank you all for being present today. It is with great pride that I would like to call him my Dadaji. And I miss him terribly every day, and would just like to say thank you all for all the respect and love that you have shown him. Thank you.
Thank you, Monisha. May I request Mr. Suresh Patel, sir, please.
He has left. He had to leave for some other work, so he's not on the.
Okay. May I ask Mrs. Manjoy Patel, please?
Hello, thank you all for being part of my dad's legacy today and give me the opportunity to say a few words. I really appreciate that, and thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. May I ask Mr. Mithul Patel, please?
Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy schedule to pay tribute and show respect to our dad. It was so nice to hear memories from his colleagues and the impact he had on all of you. It recollected some of my memories that I had forgotten and helped me form new ones. Thank you, Mr. Rao, for organizing this event. We are truly blessed with all the love he has received, and we all miss him a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Mithul. May I ask Mr. Mehul Patel, please?
I wish to thank all distinguished speakers today for their tribute to Daddy. Patel family really appreciates your kind gesture and words, and of course the time you spent this evening for creating the legacy of Daddy. But before I conclude, I would like to speak out few of the points which Daddy would always, like to convey to his younger generations. And I will just pick out 5 or 6 points. Number one is that if you want to be successful, basic fundamentals have to be very clear. This was his thoughts, that if you want to be successful, basic fundamentals, whatever you do, you have to be very clear in your fundamentals. Leave no stone unturned. Do not know when the goal can strike. For everything you wish to supervise, you must have hands-on experience. So that is how he was successful. When he was operating calendar way back in 1950s, and subsequently he was taking trials in various factories to establish SBR. He had hands of experience, and sitting on the table, then he could guide everybody properly. Look after your family, give them the best education possible. Be honest and selfless to yourself. Always speak the truth. Be satisfied with whatever you get. Put in hard work and leave it to God to do justice for your life. I was privileged to live with him and imbibe many of his good qualities in life. Once again, I would like to thank all the panelists today for their kind gesture, time, and very good words, very kind words. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mehul Patel, sir. May I request a panelist to give any final brief remarks? Okay, may I invite Dr. Mukhopadhyaya, please. Unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, good evening to once again to all of you. Actually, on behalf of the Indian Rubber Institute, we can assure the family members that the legacy what the left behind by Manu Bhai and will continue to do the same. And he's one of the full the dream, to create a national college of rubber technology in India. And we are taking the first step, and we require all the industries cooperation to do this same thing, and that will be the best way to honoring the Manu Bhai. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the family members and other to give us an opportunity to say a few words. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mukhopadhyay. May I request Mr. Rajendra Gandhi, please?
It's been really a pleasure listening to and reliving Manu Bhai's life and contribution and legacy. I'm grateful to the Patel family for organizing this and to Mr. Rao for organizing this event. I think this is a great way to remember those who have made such a difference in the industry and the industry's growth. So once again, thanks, and I hope that the three wings of our industry, AIRIA, IRMRA, and IRI, all the three are wings of the industry in which Manu Bhai had really a very, very crucial role to play for in their growth and in their development. That together they can think of doing something in the memory of Mr. Manu Patel. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, sir. May I request Dr. R.K. Mattan, please?
First of all, my thanks to the family for giving me this opportunity to speak this evening, and also for Mr. Param Rao for organizing this very wonderful event, which gives us a legacy of Manu Bhai Patel. I think we should really follow up on his prime passion, which was to see that there is a proper college, a national college type of setup. And I'm glad that Dr. Mukhopadhyay has agreed to take this forward. And I would certainly, with the others of here today, try to push this to its fruition in the quickest possible time. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. Pereira, sir, please? Unmute yourself, sir.
I think it was walk down the memory lane, sometimes emotional, bringing back a lot of memories over the last 50 years. And I was very impressed by the proceedings. And on behalf of the Plastics and Rubber Institute of Sri Lanka, I assure you all that we will give whatever support and assistance to mutually develop the rubber industry. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. Janakar?
Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you, the people. All I would like to say is he has been doing work for rubber industry for IRI. Now, Dr. Mukhopadhyay, of course, and our entire team is now constructing the Dr. Banerjee Center of Excellence at Mysuru. Now, there I had already mentioned, which I would like to mention once again, the IRI Mumbai branch should come forward to give maximum cooperation. And in turn, I would like Dr. Mukhopadhyay and other governing council people to honor Manu Bhai Patel by dedicating a hall or library, whatever the thing, in his memory. This is what I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I invite Mr. Ketan Shah, KD Shah, please? KD Shah. Okay, there is a connectivity issue. In the meantime, may I invite Mr. Yogan Lathia, sir? I know that you can speak over the audio.
I thank you once again, Mehul, and all the family members for giving, and I'm sure we will all continue Manubhai's legacy. He will live in our heart, and whatever has taught to us will continue till our passing away. Thank you very much, Mehul Bhai, once again.
Thank you, sir. I may request Mr. KD Shah. Okay, he has a connectivity issue. May I request Mr. Ketan Shah, please? Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself.
Sorry. I would like to thank Mr. Peram because I have learned of so many facets of Manu Kaka which were not known to me. And I have also realized the impact that he has had on our family, hearing to different things that the other panelists have spoken. So thank you, everyone. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. KD Shah, I think your audio is fine now. Would you like to speak? Mr. KD Shah. Mr. KD Shah. Okay, we have a connectivity issue, so I move on. May I request Dr. Samar Bandyopadhyay to give a vote of thanks for all the panelists and the family members as well as audience, please.
Yeah. First of all, thanks to the entire audience for joining and listening such a eminent personality webinar. And Manu Patel, I was also not knowing so many things which I learned today in this webinar. And the legacy that Manu Patel has laid in this country, that will be taken forward by all of us. That is our commitment to the Patel family. First of all, I will thank Jayashree Patel madam for being present in the event for the full time. Thank you very much, madam, for being present. Next thanks goes to Mr. Mehul Patel, whom we contacted for organizing this event, and he gracefully agreed for hosting the same. And he has given us many photographs and many information with which the video could be made. Thank you to Mitul Patel sir, the younger brother of Mehul sir. Thank you very much and for speaking in this event. Thank you, Madam Manjay Patel. It is a rare event that we see all the family members together. Really, it is very fascinating and we love this. And that's why Peram is hosting this event.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Monisha, the young girl. Thank you very much for being with us and speaking for your grandfather. Thank you, Dr. Mukhopadhyay, our chairman, beloved chairman of Indian Rubber Institute. Whatever we are today is because of these great people like Manu Patel, W.G. Desai, R.R. Pandit, Dr. Mathan, Dr. Mukhopadhyay, and all other IRI people. So whatever things we are learning every day, that is because of these great personalities. Thank you very much, Rajendra Bhai Gandhi sir, the chairman of GRP Limited. Thank you very much for agreeing to speak. Thank you, Dr. R.K. Mathan sir, another eminent person in the rubber industry. So thank you very much, sir, for speaking on this great event. Piyananda Pereira sir, the
Vice President of PRI Sri Lanka chapter. Thank you very much, sir, for representing your country in this event. And also thanking Mr. Anand Caldera, the Vice President of GRI Limited, Global Rubber Industry Sri Lanka, for sending us your WhatsApp message. Thank you very much, sir. Kedisa, sir. In fact, it is again rare opportunity to see the father and the son in the same event. Ketan Bhai and Kedisa. Thank you, both of you. Janakar, sir, KJ Janakar, sir, who is the chairman of IRI Chennai chapter. Thank you very much, sir, for being present in this event and speaking. Yazdi Bhai Patel, the MD of Weimar Polymers. Oh, so nice gentleman. When we requested him, he said, I will be grateful to send a video message. And his people helped him to send the video message which you enjoyed today. Jogen Latia, sir, thank you very much for speaking. Ketan Bhai, already I have thanked you. And then Neeraj Thakkar, sir. And also I missed Suresh Patel, sir, the uncle of Mehul Bhai. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking and gracing this occasion. And thanks to all the audience for listening this great event. Thank you very much, Peram. You are doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Yes, I would like to thank Mr. Peram for hosting this event. And I think it's gone very well. And everybody has spoken so well. We will certainly remember this particular event for a long number of years to come. Thank you, Mr. Peram.
Thank you very much. Okay, so it's a really great learning to learn about the achievements, the contribution of Mr. Manu Patel, sir. I met him, as I mentioned in the beginning, I met him in Thailand almost 20 or 21 or 22 years ago. At that time, I was saying, Peram, you will be stuck here in the rubber industry and you will make your own mark for it. So thanks for all the nice blessings, and I'm really glad and honored to be part of this event today, and thankful to all the family members, Mehul sir, and also the Mithul Patel and all the family members, and other panelists today for joining, gracing this occasion today. And we are about to end this program with this one note. I want to close it. Mr. Manu Patel, sir, or Manu Bhai Patel, Manu Bhai, the way we love to call him, a true eminent rubber industry professional. His legacy will continue in the rubber industry fraternity in hearts and minds with the lessons, the values learned from his contribution. So let's continue journey. I think one way or other, he will be living with us. I thank you all once again for joining this session today. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good night, sir. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Okay, I'm closing this session now. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.